catastrophic and unprecedented $12.5 billion loss for tourism. You heard me correctly, $12.5 billion loss just in 2025. This is going to be catastrophic for the United States of American tourism. People are not coming for business travel. They are not coming for conventions. They are not coming here for vacation. They are not coming here because of the trade war, because we are now actually on a national human rights watch list. You heard me correctly. For the first time ever, the United States of America is a danger to human rights. States like Florida, California, Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, and other major tourist cities are going to suffer devastating consequences. Have you changed your plans to travel for work, personal, or business to the United States or in between states? This is going to be an economic disaster we may never recover from.
While MAGA diehards keep chanting, "We don't care," every time someone points out the cost of Donald Trump's policies, international tourists are quietly delivering the one response that matters in Trump's America, which is they're not coming to the United States for vacations. We have new data now from the World Travel and Tourism Council. The U.S. is on track to lose over $12 billion in international travel spending this year. That's a decline of 7%. It's not because suddenly the sand on the beaches is no good. It's not because the theme parks got rid of everybody's favorite ride. It's because the rest of the world sees what the United States under Donald Trump has become: expensive, hostile, and unstable. And they're voting with their passports. Of the 184 countries surveyed, the U.S. is the only one with an absolute decline in international visitor spending. According to the WTC's CEO, quote, "The U.S. has firmly got a 'we're not open for business' sign right now." And that's correct. Germany has updated its travel advisory after several Germans were detained at the U.S. border. Canada, which used to be exempt from most of the short-term visa requirements, now has to register and submit fingerprints for any visit longer than 30 days. That's new under Donald Trump. You've got Canadian Airlines canceling routes due to declining demand. Vehicle traffic at land crossings is down significantly from Canada. So these are not anecdotes. This is an economic warning siren. The largest travel economy in the world is bleeding visitors. And MAGA's response is always, so what? We don't want sissy Europeans and liberal Canadians coming here. Well, one of the things that you have to understand is that overseas visitors spend 7 to 8 times more than domestic tourists when they come to the United States. Canadian visitors spend 3 times more than Americans when Canadians vacation in the United States, and we're losing a bunch of them. So when conservatives and right-wingers brush this off as, oh, globalists are scared and liberals are whining, they are not understanding the math. This isn't about politics. It's about dollars. It's about cities losing tourism jobs. It's about entire regional economies built on foreign travel drying up. And you can't own the libs with a bankrupt hotel. That is what decline looks like, and it is completely self-inflicted because of Trump's policy of punish, restrict, and intimidate.
Hi folks, so this short report is a wow moment. It's currently May 2025, and so far this year, international tourism to the United States has fallen by 61%. This is mainly due to Trump's America First policies and growing concern over U.S. immigration policies. Folks, this source comes from MSN and Travel Weekly. Let me know what you think in the comments.
In June, a group of New England governors and Canadian premiers will gather in Boston to discuss trade and strategize about solutions. Amid so much uncertainty over national trade policy, there is one way you can contribute. Support those local businesses that rely on tourism to stay afloat, particularly during the short summer season. Every dollar counts.
Sure, every dollar counts. But let's be honest, do local Americans really have enough spending power to replace the billions that Canadians and other international visitors bring in? The answer is pretty obvious. They don't. Tourism doesn't survive on domestic pride. It survives on real money. And right now, that money is going elsewhere.
A Minnesota senator is pushing for peace with Canada as Trump administration's tariffs take their toll. A reminder, Canada has a new prime minister. He's not mincing words when it comes to relations with the U.S. Here's a look from election night.
We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves.
Since that day, Prime Minister Mark Carney has visited President Trump at the White House. He's told the president Canada is not for sale. The 25% tariff on Canadian goods remains in place. So too does Canada's reciprocal tariff on the U.S. But Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar says the nation and Minnesota need to have a good relationship with Canada. She tells WCCO it's vital to the economy.
What we're seeing right now, particularly in northern Minnesota, we're seeing a 70% drop-off of canceled vacations across the country. We know right now we have an 18% decrease in the number of border crossings. The Canadians are mad, and they're showing it by saying, we're not going to spend money in America. That needs to change.
The Minnesota Democrat just met with Prime Minister Carney. She says he wants a good relationship with the U.S. She also says there's a bipartisan push to bridge the gap with Canada. Otherwise, the tourism season ahead could be tough for Minnesota hotels, restaurants, and shops that supply our neighbors to the north.
It's not that things could get tough. They will. U.S. media keeps downplaying the impact of the boycott. And sure, maybe that's their way of preventing panic. But the reality? It's starting to show, slowly, day by day. So what are we asking for? Respect. Start by getting Donald out of office. Not easy, but necessary. Treat Canada and other countries like true partners, not pawns. Drop the 51st state rhetoric. Stop the bullying. That would be a good start toward restoring some kind of normal. But let's be real, that's not likely to happen anytime soon. So what do? We keep pushing back. We don't take the disrespect quietly. We build stronger ties with Europe, the UK, Australia, Asia, with nations that value partnership. We stop relying on the US. Keep the boycott going. Stop crossing the border out of habit. Explore the world. Central America, Southeast Asia, where your dollar goes farther and your presence is appreciated. And whatever you do, don't ease up. If you found this video valuable, a like and subscribe helps get our message out and supports this growing community. Thanks to every one of you still watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
The Canadians are mad, and they're showing it by saying, we're not going to spend money in America. That needs to change.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. We don't need anything that they give. We do it because we want to be helpful, but it comes a point when you just can't do that. You have to run your own country. And to be honest with you, Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have.
While the orange guy in the office keeps fueling chaos between the US and Canada and the rest of the world, there are still a few Americans who get it. A senator from Minnesota just said what many of us already know. Relationships with allies need to be repaired. At this point, they're not even allies anymore. The US is struggling, and the logical ones down there are finally noticing. That means one thing. The boycott is working. We might not change Donald's mind, but others are starting to see the consequences. If you find this video informative, a like and subscribe goes a long way in helping us grow the channel. Let's get into it.
From the Berkshires to Cape Cod, local businesses prepare to welcome tourists who are filling hotel rooms, eating in local restaurants, and shopping in local stores. But this year, there are worrying signs, given the strained relations amid the Trump administration's ongoing trade war. Traditionally, summer visitors to New England have included hundreds of thousands of Canadians. But since the administration announced tariffs on Canadian goods and the president expressed his wish to make Canada the 51st state, relations have been frosty, to say the least. Nationally, the number of Canadians entering the United States by car dropped by 35% in April. It was the fourth month of year-over-year decline, according to the Canadian government. Here in New England, cross-border travel into Vermont and Maine by car has plummeted. New Hampshire tourism officials are anxious as well. And in Boston, where typically 1/3 of international tourists come from Canada each year, city tourism officials have adjusted their forecast for 2025. They now expect a 10% decline in visitors from Canada this year. The U.S. Travel Association warns that a 10% drop in the number of tourists visiting the U.S. from Canada could lead to $2.1 billion in lost spending and 14,000 job losses nationwide.
A 10% drop might not sound like much at first, but when you look at the actual numbers, it adds up fast. Now imagine that 10% becomes 20 or even 30. It won't happen overnight, but we've still got 44 months of Donald in office. That is plenty of time for more reckless comments to drive even more international tourists away. The trend has already started.
While the impact is nationwide, it will be felt acutely here in New England.